Something happened recently that never appeared on any screen, never broke into headlines, and never made a sound in the natural world. Yet it sent a tremor through the unseen realms so powerful that time itself seemed to hesitate. This was not symbolic. This was not imagination. This was not emotional language meant to impress you. It was a real shift, a crossing of an invisible threshold that had not been touched in generations. While the world slept, while people scrolled, while life moved forward as usual, heaven paused. The atmosphere changed. The spiritual weight of the moment was so intense that angels stopped mid-assignment, as if creation itself leaned forward to witness what was unfolding. There was no thunder, no fire from the sky, no public sign. And yet everything changed. You may have felt it without understanding it. A sudden heaviness mixed with clarity. A strange sense that something was ending and something else was beginning. A quiet pressure in your chest, a restlessness in your spirit, a moment where your thoughts slowed and your awareness sharpened. That was not random, that was resonance. That was your spirit responding to a shift that did not originate on Earth. For a long time, there has been a line in the unseen world that could not be crossed. A boundary that separated waiting from activation, preparation from movement, silence from release. That line was not broken by noise. It was crossed by alignment. And when it happened, the unseen realms reacted instantly. Heaven did not celebrate loudly. Heaven became still. Because when heaven becomes silent, it means something weighty is being observed. This is where the message becomes specific. This is not for everyone listening. This is not entertainment. This is not general encouragement. This is not a motivational speech for the masses. This message is targeted, directed, precision sent. If you are still here, if you did not click away, if your attention is unusually locked in right now, that is not coincidence. That is recognition. You were not brought here by algorithm. You were guided here by alignment. There is a category of souls on the earth that does not fit into normal spiritual patterns. They do not move loudly. They are not always visible. They are not always celebrated. But they carry something rare. They endure quietly. They choose integrity when no one is watching. They remain aligned even when life offers easier alternatives. Heaven monitors these souls closely, and recently, a signal was triggered. It was not triggered by perfection. It was not triggered by public success. It was not triggered by religious performance. It was triggered by consistency in secret, choices made when no applause existed, restraint chosen when compromise was available, obedience chosen when walking away would have been easier. Those moments accumulated. They were recorded, they were weighed. And when the measure was full, the unseen threshold shifted. If your heart feels strangely heavy but calm at the same time, if something inside you feels seen without being explained, if you feel both exposed and strengthened right now, that is not emotion. That is alignment activating. You are not here by accident. There is a reason you have felt different your entire life. A reason you never fully fit into systems built on ego, greed, or surface identity. A reason you have walked through seasons of isolation, misunderstanding, and silent endurance. It was not punishment, it was preparation, and the moment of transition has arrived. The unseen world recognizes you even if the visible world does not. Heaven has been watching how you move when no one affirms you, how you respond when you are misunderstood, how you remain grounded when life tries to harden you. And something about your pattern has triggered attention, not because you are perfect, but because you are consistent. Not because you are flawless, but because you are aligned. Right now, something ancient is shifting. The old season of waiting is closing. The quiet phase of formation is ending. A new threshold has opened. And the invitation is not extended to everyone. It is extended to those who can carry weight without pride, authority without corruption, purpose without ego. If you feel a tightening in your chest right now, if your breathing changed slightly, if your mind went quiet for just a moment, that is your spirit recognizing its own name. This is not hype. This is activation awareness. Before this message can go deeper, there is a moment of alignment required, not for validation, not for numbers, not for public display, but for spiritual agreement. Agreement is how transitions seal. If you know this message is touching something personal inside you, if you feel that this is not random, if your spirit is saying, "This is for me," even while your mind is still catching up, type "Amen" in the comments. Not for me, not for the platform, but as a signal of internal alignment, because what happened in the unseen realm was not the end. It was the beginning. A door has opened, a cycle has shifted, and those who are aligned will begin to feel acceleration, separation from old patterns, and a calling that cannot be ignored. You were not chosen by chance. You were recognized by consistency. And now that recognition is moving from observation into activation. Stay with me, because what you are about to understand next will explain why the unseen world reacted the way it did, and why you were positioned for this moment long before you ever knew it was coming. For thousands of years, darkness has operated under predictable laws. Not laws written on paper, not rules spoken aloud, but patterns enforced through repetition and time. Every generation followed the same cycle. Pressure produces fear. Fear produces compromise. Compromise produces alignment drift. This system has worked with frightening consistency. Empires rose and fell. Movements began and collapsed. Individuals promised transformation and returned to old patterns. The method rarely failed because it did not rely on force alone. It relied on erosion, slow wear, emotional fatigue, subtle persuasion waiting for people to bend. Darkness does not rush its studies. It watches for weak points, emotional wounds, hidden desires, unhealed bitterness, pride disguised as confidence, fear disguised as logic, and when it finds leverage, it applies pressure in calculated layers: delay, disappointment, temptation, confusion. Not all at once, but gradually until the internal structure collapses. This is why what happened recently is so disruptive. Because when your life was monitored under this same system, the expected results did not appear. You were tested quietly, not in dramatic public battles, but in ordinary moments that carried spiritual weight. Moments where no one would have known if you chose differently. Situations where compromise would have been understandable, where bitterness would have been justified, where giving up would have made sense. And yet something unusual happened. You did not respond according to pattern. When pressure increased, you did not harden, you deepened. When delay stretched longer than expected, you did not disconnect, you endured. When temptation presented shortcuts, you did not calculate benefits, you refused. When emotional warfare tried to pull you into resentment, comparison, or self-pity, you chose restraint instead of reaction. This created a problem, because darkness is designed to operate on predictability. It expects humans to break eventually. It expects alignment to weaken under strain. It expects endurance to expire. But your internal structure did not follow these assumptions. What was discovered was not just discipline. It was design. You were not resisting by effort alone. You were resisting by structure. Your integrity was not situational. It was internal, built-in, anchored. This is what triggered classification. In the unseen realm, souls are not labeled by titles. They are identified by response patterns. And when your pattern was analyzed, it did not fit existing categories. You were not reactive. You were not impulsive. You were not easily influenced by reward or threat. You did not fracture under emotional pressure. That placed you into a rare classification, an anomaly soul, not because you are superior to others, but because your internal alignment operates differently. You are not driven primarily by emotion, ego, or validation. You are governed by something deeper, an internal compass that does not shift easily, a core that remains stable even when circumstances change. Darkness attempted recalibration. It applied delay to exhaust you. You waited without bitterness. It applied isolation to weaken you. You grew inwardly stronger. It applied temptation to redirect you. You disengaged. It applied emotional triggers to destabilize you. You remained calm. Each strategy failed not dramatically, but consistently. This is when control was lost. Because when systems cannot predict outcome, they lose authority. When patterns break, dominion weakens. When erosion stops working, leverage disappears. What emerged in you was a rare trait that cannot be easily manipulated. The first is endurance without collapse. You carry the ability to remain present through pressure without becoming bitter, numb, or hardened. You do not simply survive hardship, you absorb it and convert it into depth. This endurance is not stubbornness, it is resilience rooted in purpose. The second is integrity without negotiation. You do not easily trade your values for comfort, speed, or recognition. Even when no one is watching, something inside you refuses misalignment. This makes you difficult to corrupt because you do not operate on external reward systems. The third is compassion without weakness. You have been wrong, you have been misunderstood, you have been disappointed, yet you have not allowed your heart to become cruel. You maintain empathy without surrendering boundaries. You choose mercy without losing strength. This combination confuses darkness because compassion usually gets exploited. But in you, it is protected by discernment. When these three operate together, endurance, integrity, and compassion, the normal systems of manipulation collapse. You cannot be rushed. You cannot be bought. You cannot be emotionally hijacked. That is why attention shifted toward you. This was not about making you famous. It was about recognizing structural authority. You became a pattern breaker, someone whose presence alone disrupts old cycles. You do not just resist darkness, you interrupt its methods. This is why your life has felt unusually heavy at times, why your battles felt more internal than external, why your growth required isolation seasons, why you were refined quietly instead of celebrated loudly. You were being shaped to carry something that cannot be entrusted to unstable structures. Darkness lost control not because you fought loudly, but because you remained aligned quietly. And now that your internal design has been revealed, the old strategies no longer apply. You are no longer operating under the same rules. You are not just surviving anymore. You are shifting the environment around you. And what happens next will move this from internal recognition into visible activation. The moment of recognition did not arrive with noise. It arrived with alignment. In the unseen realm, when a soul reaches structural maturity, when integrity, endurance, and compassion stabilize into permanent architecture, a shift of authority takes place. This is not symbolic, it is procedural. Heaven does not operate on emotion. It operates on order. And when your internal structure reached completion, the system responded. There was a transfer. What once required effort now begins to move with flow. What once felt delayed now begins to accelerate. What once felt blocked now starts to open. Not because circumstances suddenly became easier, but because your position has changed. You were not promoted outwardly first. You were repositioned inwardly. And inner authority always precedes visible influence. This is what activation feels like. You may notice your sensitivity increasing, your discernment sharpening, your tolerance for misalignment decreasing. Old environments may feel uncomfortable. Old conversations may no longer satisfy. Old habits may lose their grip. This is not loss. This is separation. Alignment creates division, not between people, but between seasons. Restoration begins quietly. Fragments of clarity return. Confidence without ego rises. Peace without passivity stabilizes. You begin remembering who you are without needing external confirmation. Your decisions carry more weight. Your words hold more impact. Your presence changes rooms even when you remain silent. This is divine synchronization. Opportunities align with timing, connections appear unexpectedly. Resources surface at precise moments. You will notice patterns forming that cannot be explained by chance. This is not luck, it is coordination. When a soul re-enters alignment, reality adjusts to support the assignment. You are not activating alone. Across different countries, cultures, and backgrounds, others are experiencing similar internal shifts. Not identical lives, but similar awakenings, quiet leaders, pattern breakers, restorers, those who endured silently and remained aligned privately. There is no central organization, no public gathering, no announcement. The connection is not physical, it is resonant. You are part of a distributed network of awakened souls, each one placed strategically in families, communities, workplaces, and cities, not to dominate, but to stabilize environments, to interrupt cycles of fear, chaos, and emotional reaction, to anchor clarity, restraint, and compassion where darkness once operated comfortably. This is your commissioning. You are called to carry light without ego, authority without pride, influence without corruption. You are not here to compete. You are here to restore, not to prove yourself, but to embody alignment. Your assignment will not always look dramatic. Sometimes it will be as simple as being present where others panic, speaking truth where others remain silent, choosing peace where others choose reaction, holding stability when environments destabilize. These small actions carry massive unseen weight. You will begin to notice people drawn to you for no logical reason, seeking advice, seeking calm, seeking clarity. This is not coincidence, it is resonance. Your alignment creates a gravitational field. Do not shrink it, do not downplay it, do not abandon it for comfort. This season requires courage, not loud courage, quiet consistency. The kind that does not need applause, the kind that continues even when misunderstood. Your life is no longer random. Your delays were not denial. Your struggles were not punishment. They were training. And now the training phase is ending. You are stepping into a season of manifestation, not material excess, but purpose expression. Your gifts will surface naturally. Your voice will strengthen. Your confidence will stabilize. You will move with clarity instead of confusion. This is the moment to accept it, not with ego, with humility and responsibility. If you feel this activation stirring inside you, if you sense a shift in your perception, if you recognize that this message is not entertainment but confirmation, then speak it quietly or type it boldly. I accept my assignment, because once you accept alignment consciously, momentum accelerates. The old season is closing. The new one is opening. You are not late. You are right on time. You are not forgotten. You are activated. You are not broken. You are refined. And from this moment forward, your life will no longer be defined by survival, reaction, or limitation. You are stepping into purpose. You are stepping into authority. You are stepping into alignment. Walk forward with clarity. Move with restraint. Speak with wisdom. Lead with compassion. Remain unshaken, because the world does not need louder voices. It needs aligned souls, and you are one of them.